How's the light look? Pretty good?
We all are
We're live. Welcome, everyone. Jesse Almanza here with United States Marine Corps retired gunnery sergeant.
You are? You sure? You're sort of hesitant there, Jesse. Charles Prentice, United States Air Force disabled veteran.
Welcome all to the Military Veteran Family YouTube channel. We are very happy to be here with you guys today. We have a very special, I guess it's not really special, but there's something that we think about or we don't think about that we all need. Every one of us need this. And whether we are doing it or not doing it, maybe we want to start doing it. It's called a job, a J-O-B.
A J.O.B.
A J-O-B, a job is a job is a job is a job. And I used to work back in my working time frames or time. I used to work in a what they call an America Work Center or Job Center, America Work Job Center. And I dealt a lot with individuals that were looking for employment, specifically those individuals that were transitioning out of the military. And, we always kind of think about the veteran transitioning out of the military and getting themselves a job, getting themselves situated, finding a place to go. And sometimes we kind of fail to ignore or we ignore the fact that your significant other may also be wanting to find themselves a job. Because remember, when you leave the military, you're going to lose out on a lot of benefits. And I'm sure those of you who are veterans right now know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't get what you used to get when you were in. So therefore, you may end up having to have to get a job and somebody else get a job and maybe put all your kids to work. So transitioning out of the military is very important to know and understand that when you leave, you already have a ton of skills.
Yep.
A ton of skills. I mean, people don't realize that, but you have done so much. First and foremost, you're able to get up very early in the morning to get you a very early and stay up late at night to get you a late night job or whatever. But the bottom line is that I know what people are going to say. They have this thing called TAP, TAP. Do they have that still?
Do they have TAP?
They
I
have
don't know.
TAP.
Do they?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in the military or getting ready to get out of the military. I think they do is that transitioning something program. Transitioning program. Okay, so they have that, but what does that mean to you? It means that you may or may not pay attention to what's going on because what do you want to do? You want to get the heck out of there.
Yep.
And how much are you absorbing as to what's there for you and your spouse or your family members or your children? How much are you really taking in? How much are you absorbing of all the benefits that are out there? And sometimes people think that because you're getting out of the military and you've already gone through all of this stuff, later on, 5, 10, 15 years later, you don't think you can utilize these programs. And that's not true. You can use any type of job development programs that are out there readily and available, not only for the veteran, but also for your spouse and stuff too. It's not something that I'm going to say someone who is not in the military has access to, because a regular civilian will not. Well, you can go as a civilian. You can go look for job assistance programs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But how many civilians want to do that? I mean, they don't really want to take the opportunity. And how much? What is the advantage of a civilian to go out there and utilize a program like that? Because just like the veteran and everybody else, they just want a job. They just want to
Yep.
get to work. They want to start drawing money. They want to start making payments. They want to start making bills. And I have this term called getting the job or getting a job, and I think
Getting
we've
it. Yeah.
discussed that.
Well, the the thing is especially transitioning. You're going from structured life to the civilian world, and mine is, I say civilian because most civilian jobs are not structured. Okay, 99.9% of the civilian jobs are not structured the way the military is. We know on a daily basis if the sun comes up, what we're doing.
Right. You already know what your job's going to be.
And so when you go into some of these things, it changes with the wind.
Yeah, it changes with the
I
wind.
yeah, I've had several outside after I've gotten out to where I've showed up, and it's okay. Well, we need to try to do this today. We didn't have human resources when we were in the military.
Yeah.
You couldn't go
Yeah.
complain about, hey, my boss yelled at me or my
Yeah.
supervisor yelled at me. Well, that was a normal
Yeah.
everyday thing. we,
Well,
we
yeah.
did we
Everybody.
did some yelling
Yeah.
in the military,
You're gonna get.
and
You're gonna get
so
yelled at.
so we don't have that when you get out, and it's
You.
confusing because we're used to the structure that no longer exists.
Yeah.
So one of the things is looking at, they in the civilian world, I guess they call it a
Silly
job
Billy. Silly Billion.
a job fair where you can go find out what jobs are available. They have the same thing with, once you get out, you get you like you said the tap. When I got out, there was like a 2 year where you still had your card, your military ID card. You could still access the base, but then after that 2 years is up, the access to the your ex- base exchange or post exchange is now gone. And you're having to rely on what is in your general area.
Yeah, it's a almost like a culture shock when you transition from being in a structured environment, as Charles was saying a while ago, to an environment to where it's just like it's all over the place. It's like a shotgun going off. It's just, pellets all over. You don't even know what direction to go. But when you're in a structured environment, you know what you're gonna do every morning when you get up. I know what I did every morning when I went to work, went out for a few runs, for a few mile runs and stuff, but that was our normal way of doing things. But 2 days, I believe, is what they give you when when you're transitioning out for this TAP program to access the 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 job developers or the workforce
Mm-hmm.
specialists that are on base, that are hired by the base, or well, I don't know who hired Department of the Navy or whomever hires them, to have this program for transitioning veterans and that are getting out. But in 2 days, what can you really accomplish in 2 days? You're gonna have to figure out how to do an interview. You're gonna have to figure out what have I done for the past 3 or 4 years
How to
or
write a
12
resume.
years, 13 years or whatever. But like I said earlier, you already have the jump on the people that haven't done that, because there's a
Right.
lot of things that you've done already that you've got experience on. And don't ever cut yourself short with knowing and understanding that you're a can-do type of person. You have that attitude, you've got the discipline, you can follow orders, you can follow directions, you can do all of this other stuff. So already you're there. And to speak about the family members, because you are a veteran, you've pretty much given that direction to your family members as well. They
Hopefully.
know that, hopefully, that has to happen somewhere along the way. So it's always an expectation of, you want to get out of the military because you're tired of it and you don't want people to tell you what to do anymore. You've already done your 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or whatever amount of time you've done, and you're like, it's over with. But it once you get out, the grass is not any greener than it is in the military. Because when you're on a base, as Charles was saying earlier, when you have the ability to be able to go at a base, it's just like a self-contained kind of city.
Right.
Anything and everything you need is there. Recreational facilities, childcare facilities, dining facilities, exchange, PX, commissary, your work is there. sports, all kinds of sports that you
Yeah.
want. It's self-contained, so you're not having to have to come out to the other side of the fence or the gates, I should say, and have to worry about, okay, well, where's the YMCA or where's the dining facility? You know, you got to go to Taco
Plus,
Bell and
when
all
you're
that.
on that base,
Yeah.
basically, everybody has the same mindset. Whereas once you drive outside that gate, everybody has their own mindset.
Oh yeah, yeah. People are people. Things to kind of consider if you haven't. Now, okay, I know this kind of sounds like you're getting out of the military today, and this topic of discussion is specifically for you, for them, those individuals, but it's not.
It's for
It's for
everybody.
everybody. It doesn't matter how long you've been out because there are a lot of programs available. It does not matter. There is no limitation as to how long ago you got out of the military as to where you can access some of these programs.
Mm-hmm.
And most of these programs are out in facilities like one-stop centers, career centers. That's what they refer them to, or did at one point. Joint centers. All these areas, nonprofit organizations have job placements. Goodwill has some job placements,
Mm-hmm.
and veterans are highly encouraged. They basically tailor everything to veterans and stuff. And not only that, they tailor it to the civilians as well too. Because I mean, if you get out of the military, or when you get out of the military, and you lost all your comrades, your BQ, and all of that, that's extra money that you don't have. So that means that your wife may have to pick up a second job or another job on top of your job, just as I did when I got out. Well, my wife was already working hard, by the way. But when I got out, it wasn't long before I really realized that it's going to take two or three jobs to make up for what I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy when you have to pay your bills, raise your family, and go to school or do whatever you got to do and stuff. Which, by the way, going to school is another piece too. I think sometimes we go into the impression, or impression that we're going to go straight to school, we're going to get our degree, we're going to get a good job. And I mean, I know people who have master's degrees in science and all kinds of stuff, and they're still not able to get a job. I personally had a master's degree. I have two, an undergraduate and a graduate degree, and I still couldn't get a job. I mean, I had a job, but it took a while by the time I situated in the civilian world before people had enough. I don't know, what do they call it? Faith, confidence, trust. I guess 23 years didn't give me much, huh? But anyway, it takes organizations, companies, because you know why? They don't have the flexibility like the military does. The military's flexibility is like this, Charles. It's like, you mess up, we're gonna send you to office hours, so you're gonna do this. They punish you right there on the spot. You know, you don't come to work, you don't show up to work, they can discharge you, they can do whatever. They have full control over you and stuff. But when you're in the civilian world, it turns from that to a liability
Mm-hmm.
for the civilian world, for the civilian employer, because lo and behold, that you do something, you call somebody a name, and somebody turns right around and sues you. So the rules are different. The rules are different out in the civilian world, to where they need to have enough confidence and faith in you, knowing that you're not going to cuss somebody out and put them in a lawsuit and stuff. And then they're going to take care of you. They're going to make sure that you receive what you got to receive, give your adequate pay, maybe give you a bonus when you deserve a bonus. I mean, they'll take care of you in that part there. But sometimes it takes a while for the civilian world to kind of catch on to that. And I know a lot of veterans right now that have had jobs. Back in the days when they used to give out gold watches back in the days. When people retired after 20 years, they give you a gold watch, they give you a benefit package, they give you a severance, whatever. They don't do that anymore. I think the average person right now probably has about 5 or 6 different jobs before they actually get into the what I alluded to earlier, A job or D job. A job meaning that you're just doing a job. You're just getting a job to try to give you the pathway to get to the job.
Right.
The D job, the THE job, is the one that we all strive for. and in the meantime, we have to put up with a job. And I think sometimes, I mean, I remember talking to, I used to be in workforce development for 17 years, actually. So I got a little bit of taste of what's going on out there with the way employers hired and fired and staffing agencies, which I don't recommend, but, there's a lot of them out there. But the bottom line is this, is that you have the ability to be able to do anything that you want based on your knowledge of where you're coming from. And don't ever forget that.
Oh, so what you're breaking down for me, what I'm getting out of this is your MOS is not just your MOS.
Ooh, yeah.
Or as we do in the Air Force, it's Air Force Specialty Code,
Okay.
AFSC.
Right.
So your MOS or AFSC is not just that job.
Right.
There's more stuff that you have learned. You go leadership school, NCO prep,
Yeah.
all
Special.
these specialty things that you have to do that are not included in your
Right.
specialty,
Right. But you do it anyway. That's
but it is part of your military career.
you.
And that's what we're trying to break down is
Yeah.
your military career is more than MOS or AFSC.
Right.
It is all these other things that are included. That's like I work PMEL, precision
Right.
mechanical equipment. I knew prices for all the stuff that we had, scheduling, because everything that we had that was precision had to go to a different center that actually, you know, did the
Yeah.
calibrations for everything.
Right.
So that's a different skill. That was not part of what I went through school
That
for.
what your
That
specialty was. It's
that's a
just something else.
specialty that I picked up and got put into and had to learn. So these are different things. Instead of okay, well, looking at like with my career field, I work camera systems on military aircraft. I can do electronics, but how many aircraft am I mounting a camera on in the civilian
Yeah.
world? It's that's not something. But the electronics part of it and everything that goes into
Right.
heck, you learn to be a janitor
Well,
while
all janitors.
while
We
in the
all done
military.
the swap thing.
I don't know how many floors we ended up.
Yeah.
I could ride it.
Bulkheads.
You could run a buffer, and you had people who could ride a buffer.
All right, Charles. Since you're talking about that, all right, we've cleaned bathrooms,
Hmm.
toilet bowls. That's a job. I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
We've washed dishes. We have swabbed many, many, many a decks. We have made a lot of beds and made them perfect, made them good for
Trying to bounce
inspections.
that quarter off of that
We have
bad boy.
squared ourselves away
Hmm.
because for inspections and all that, and depending on the job that you had, yeah, if you're a mechanic, you're just going to throw your mechanic clothes on. But if you're in administration, you'd have to be squared away. You'd
Hmm.
have to be groomed. You'd have to do. It's pretty much the same thing when you're out here in the. Well, I don't know about that sometimes. Sometimes I go into these places and I'm not quite sure if they went to that class, but who knows? Maybe they did. But anyway, you've done a lot of things.
Hmm.
You've done so many things to where if you wanted to go and work for a county and you applied for a job 20 years after the military and you say, you know what, I just want to help clean up the place, and they're going to offer you $25 an hour to. It used to be called janitor work, but now it's sanitary specialist or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they have different words for a lot of stuff. But anyway, if you wanted to be that, if you wanted to have that kind of a job, because you have experience, a lot of experience, you can actually fall right into it.
Hmm.
And then you know what do you think happens when you fall into a place to where you've been working for a while? If you stay dormant, and I used to say this a lot to people that were working at a job, well, I'm tired, I'm bored, this wasn't the right job, I shouldn't have got it, I should have done something else. I'd always ask the question, well, how many other job titles, job descriptions are within that organization that you have?
Hmm.
What are the kind of people? Oh, they've got administrative, they've got counselors, they've got admin, they've got data workers. Aren't you interested in any of those jobs there? So what I would recommend is that jump into those people that you know do that work and find out about their jobs. There might be something you may want, and then get used to the point to being there to help and assist in any way, shape, or form. It's called basically learning on your own, learning through experience. And then when it comes time for that job position to be open, and you've got enough experience because you've been asking the right questions to the right people that work in the right places, and people got to know you, they know about your work ethics and so on and so on. Guess what's going to end up happening when a job description comes up in your same organization? You didn't even have to move. And what else is going to come along with it? It's going to be an opportunity. It's going to be a raise. It's going to be something different. It's not going to be the same thing, mopping floors all the time. But now you've taken that next step up, and you didn't have to go nowhere. But the problem is that sometimes we just don't pursue those kind of avenues.
Right.
And there's things out there that's called on the job training programs too. If you're
Yep.
working right now, if you're a veteran or a military spouse, you can go seek out these type of opportunities out there, or these type of career centers or nonprofit organizations that work in workforce development, and say, you know what, I like working with numbers, but I don't have the experience. I don't have the training. I don't have this. I don't have that. It's a thing called priority of service that we all will have all the time. It doesn't matter when. Priority of service means that when you apply for specific jobs like post office or a federal job or a city or a county, you have to go in on a point system. You automatically have to have certain points. And the more points you have, the better off you are in obtaining that position. And for a priority of service for a veteran that's out there, you automatically get 10 points added to your scores. So if you had 50, now you have 60. So you're already there.
Right.
These are the kind of things that I think individuals kind of don't look at, or kind of consider. You're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but they kind of bring those things out when you go into the 2-day tap class, and who's gonna listen to those kind of things?
Well, obviously you didn't.
Well, I never did. Yeah, yeah, you're right, because I had
mine
to.
is mine is it was not afforded me the 2 day tap
Yeah.
class.
Uh,
I was on medical hold. They called me up and said, "Time for you to out process."
uh,
So mine was immediately. I was out process. I out
yeah,
processed my squadron,
I get it.
out processed the base on the same day, and
I
was
get
out of the United States Air Force all in one day.
Yeah, I have this analogy that I used to tell people. I say, well, once you leave that base, that gate slams right on your butt, and it's not open for you anymore.
No.
What you had on the other side, all your prestige, all your rank, anything that you had is not there anymore. You come into the civilian world, it's just like you're just another Joe.
Hmm.
You're just another person and stuff. So you really have to know and understand that you already have a lot of things, and your veteran parent or husband or wife has no doubt talked to you about responsibilities, duties, being on time, waking up, doing all this stuff. Those are skill sets, believe it or not, that are practiced in the workforce, in the workplace, because that's what employers want. I don't think there's an employer out there that's going to hire you for you to go into work and just sit there and say, "Well, I'm too tired," or "I didn't get enough sleep," or I think they're going to want you to. Because
Well,
they're paying you for something.
I'm not sure about that, Jesse,
Oh,
because if you
wait a
look
minute.
at the political realm, I think there's a lot of them that get that job and they just sit there.
Yeah.
But
It's not about.
we're not talking politics.
We can, but you don't want to open up that can of worms for me,
No,
because,
we won't open that
oh
can
my
of worms.
goodness, I can go haywire on that. But I'm thinking about those of us who are part of the military veteran family, who really, really, really want to think that at some point of in our lives, we get to the point to where what is going to be the job that I want in life, because the job is the one that's going to give you everything that you've been seeking for, as far as benefits, as far as enough money for you to make your payments, maybe help you move along the way to get you a nice car, a nice home, because you can't do that when you're jumping from job to job to job to job. because it's just not going to happen and
Right.
stuff. So you've got to take advantage of opportunities that come along when you're able to. The sooner you can get to the job that you want in life, the better off you are. And because you were sitting at home and you didn't deploy with your husband or wife or mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, whomever, you have skill sets too. You may not know it. I mean, you are a coordinator because you have to coordinate things at home. You are a babysitter. You are a financial advisor. You're a budget analyst. You are. Think of the things that you've done to be able to get you through. Your money management. You were able to manage your money and stuff. And those are things that we don't consider that may or could be very very beneficial to us because when a person applies for a specific job, I used to tell these people that used to go and get their $200 or $300 resume done. I used to say you just wasted your money because that resume is not going to tell the story other than tell the story all over to the person or the people that don't want to hear that because what when employers put out a job description, they tell you what they're looking for.
Hmm.
They tell you what they're looking for. And it's to your disadvantage if you give that $300 resume to someone and you didn't look at the job description. You set yourself up for failure because you could be overqualified without you even. I mean, they'll never call you. They will never call you because you're overqualified. Your resume speaks very highly of you, but all they really want you to do is process something else. Process paperwork, data entry, or something. Nothing that has to do with all the accomplishments that you've done. You save that for when you go to your interview.
Right.
When they ask the questions, well, tell me about yourself. Don't ever tell them. Either tell them about your career stuff. Don't tell them about your family stuff.
Yep.
Career all the way. So understand it. I think the first thing that people need to look at when they get out, Charles, or even today, even if you've been out for years, is your medical condition to give you the ability to make sure that if you have a service connection that's related to the service, that you'll get adequately compensated for it
Right.
because that's money. That's not getting a job.
Hmm.
And if you can identify a service connection somewhere along the way, uh, within a few months of you pursuing it the right way with the right people, you could potentially be getting some money compensated back to you. That would help with whatever you need throughout your life. And who knows, it could be substantial
Yep.
to the point to where I'm not saying don't really look for a job, but I'm just saying it could set you up to where now you're more comfortable to the point to where at least you have breathing space. And you don't have to have been getting out of the military most recently. You could have been out of the military for years.
Yep.
And we talked about this last year, Charles, about how many veterans have not pursued going into getting service connections and so on and so on. Because it's important. We want to drive this through you because we want you to understand that if there's a way that you can be helped, and we said it last time, the VA is not going to come knocking on your door, make a phone call to you and say, hey, we got some money for you.
They're
Come
not.
and get
Yep.
it.
They're not showing up at your
Yeah,
house and
they're not
saying,
going to do
"Hey,
that.
we're dragging you to
Yeah.
a job, or we're dragging you to the education center." Because that's another thing that most people don't
Yeah.
use. I didn't touch mine for a long time, but there's benefits out there,
There's a lot.
and so
A
you
lot.
can go back to school.
Go back
If
to
you
school.
want to go back to college, or you can do trade school. You know, I mean that's a big thing now. You look at how many trade jobs that there are out there. You can
Yeah.
make more money probably as a plumber or
Oh yeah.
electrician
Oh
or
yeah.
contractor
Yeah.
than
Oh yeah.
some
Plenty.
of these doctors and lawyers
Oh yeah.
who are still
Yeah.
paying for their college because their college costs so much more.
Yeah,
Um,
some of that's hard work, but you know what? I mean, if you can sustain it, if you're able to do it and stuff, and there's going to be some good pay behind that, if it's going to take long hours, well, heck, you were in the military, you were
yep,
deployed for many years, many days, many
yep.
months.
And
So
there are some companies who their priority is now military
yeah,
because they have learned. You saw the the front end of that back years ago when you got out,
Yeah.
that people didn't understand military.
Right.
And now they realized, hey, these are the people that we want around.
Yeah.
These guys and
Yeah.
gals who have served, had that dedication. Yeah, they're the ones that we know are going to put their good foot forward
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do
So we
do the
want to.
job the way that the job's supposed to be done.
Yeah, we want you to take advantage of what's out there and don't let it go. And I think a lot of these services that are out there available for veterans and their spouses, their wives and daughters. I mean, even your children have abilities to be able to pick up on some of this stuff if you do the right research and stuff because it's not going away. It's not definitely not going to go away for anything. But just to give you an idea, if we're having a gala, a Gulf War era veteran gala this month in 30 days, Charles. It's
30
coming.
days. Here, let me
30 days.
pop this up here for you.
Yeah, there you go. Gala announcement. We have one of our keynote speakers that's going to be there, um, Michelle Pen
Pensac.
Michelle Penzak, veteran spouse. She's the owner and founder of an organization called Squared Away. I mean, if you know the term Squared Away, you know what that's all about. It means that it's basically focused on individuals who really want to move forward. Now, her company employs over 1,600 military spouses worldwide. I mean, that's awesome. And military spouses don't have to be like the military spouse that husbands are still in the military. Yes, to some extent that's true, but a military spouse is still. I mean, if you're able to get a job, I mean, she's someone that you may want to come and listen to what she has to say,
Right.
because her company has been listed on the top 500 list of the found. What is that? Female.
The
Uh,
female founder.
yeah, the female founder 250 is what they call it. Female founder 250. I guess she's number 250 on that list. Also in Forbes, and also by the Navy. She's been recognized. She is married to a Marine major. He's still active duty. She is going to be our one of our keynote speakers at the gala this year, and I think that you would really, really want to come to hear what she has to say about, these kind of situations or these kind of things, obstacles that people may think they might be obstacles or whatever. Will definitely help you out.
Yep.
We've extended the registration up until August the 8th. And you please register if you think you want to go. And that would be good for us because we're looking for numbers right now, and we want to make sure that we have that available.
Right. We want to
Um,
be able. You got to remember the food doesn't cost you anything.
yeah,
Food is free. So if
yeah,
we're giving out free food, we need to know how many people are there, or
that's
you get
right.
a sandwich, maybe.
Well,
If
we
you didn't
might
register
pizza,
and you come
pizza.
in, we'll give you a slice of bread. That'll
Yeah.
be your portion. Register.
Yeah, I mean, I know things change. Sometimes you may not be able to make it, but that's okay too. If you register and you don't make it, it's understandable. I'd much rather have you register to make
Right.
sure that we account for you as opposed to not register and, like Charles was saying, give you that last piece of bread. That's not going to happen, of course. But I'm just basically saying that's very important for us as we
See,
move along with our planning ordeal
this
here.
is it's funny to listen to him because he's so nice and kind, and he's supposed to be a Marine, and
Hoorah.
I'm the mean one, and I'm Air Force. Well, somewhere we got mixed up along the way, and I became mean Air Force, and he's kind Marine. I'm gonna give you the piece of bread because you should have registered, and if you didn't register and we ran out of food,
I'll give you somebody else's plate.
I'm
How's
gonna
that?
hold you accountable for
And you get somebody else's plate,
it.
whatever they didn't eat. No, I'm just
Let me
kidding.
let me throw up our Gulf War era Veterans Incorporated PO Box 1302, Welcome, North Carolina 27374. That is the address. If you need to contact us, you need to send us a letter. You want to send a donation? Say you live in, like I said last time, BFE, and you can't attend, but you want to be able to
Support.
make sure some other veterans are able to attend and get a free meal. We're doing a table of six for $300, so you will be able to, and you don't have to give $300. If you want to give $5, $10, a dollar, I don't care. But if you say, hey, I need to contribute to this. I want to help out other veterans. You can send it to us here at Gulf War Era Veterans Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization. If you want to send a large amount of money, Jesse will send you a letter that you can use for tax purposes for donations. Also, Gulf War Era Veterans Incorporated, like, subscribe, and share to our channel here.
Yeah, we want to do that, but we also don't want to forget about our Gold Star families as
Right,
well, because they too are a part of this celebration, and we welcome them. And understand too, though, there's a clarification that needs to be made about Gold Star families here. There are two Gold Star families recognized by the federal government. The first Gold Star families is those individuals that were killed in action, KIAs. That's a Gold Star family right there. But the other Gold Star families are those families who lost a loved one in not in battle, but they lost them due to unforeseeable circumstances like accidents, crashes. They were still serving; they were in the military, but they're no longer around. They too have a place in the Gold Star arena. So just if because you're not a Gold Star family that lost someone in combat does not mean that you're not part of us. You are part of this Gold Star family recognition, and we want you to be here as well too.
right.
So
Let me throw this back up here one more time. Gulf War Era Veteran and Gold Star Family Third Annual Gala. Saturday, August 29th, 2026, starting at 5 p.m. If you're in the area, that's Welcome, North Carolina. Richard Childress Event Racing Center. What does that say, Jesse?
on what?
425 Industrial Drive in Welcome, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's the address.
425 is the address.
All right.
It is a nice venue. I'm gonna leave this up here. We're gonna close with this
Yeah.
up here.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, you guys have yourself a great week, and we'll be talking about this pretty much every week up until the day, and we'll just take. You guys take care. Have a good week, and God bless y'all.
yeah. God bless you. Like, subscribe, and share.